What's going on, guys? Getting in the green, week 9 NFL main slate. We got a full breakdown here, position by position for you. We're going to give you some guys at the top and a few value plays at each position here to kind of round out your lineup. So let's get it kicked off with quarterbacks, man. And, I think the narrative every week's been like play a Ram stack, you win money. Play a Patriot stack. Play a Buccaneers stack with Brady and you win money. Or play a Josh Allen stack and win money. And out of the three, the only one on this slate is Josh Allen. So it's going to be an interesting week. Got to kind of change up the philosophy here. So where are you going, Matt?
Yeah, when we start at the top here, we're talking about Mahomes, we're talking about Kyler, talking about Allen. I'm going Allen again. I was big on him last week. Had some sketchy moments there. He got a slow start. He came through for us. Ended up scoring 29 points on DraftKings, and the guy's just safe. They got Jacksonville. I expect Buffalo to score another 40 points on Jacksonville. Don't love the price point. Obviously, 82 really does affect your lineup, but can't go wrong. Little trickier to pick the correct stack with Allen. We do know he spreads the ball around. It's Cole Beasley's kind of been the guy that's really been the great stack at his price point. We'll get into that a little later. So a little bit harder to pick that from a stack standpoint. But at the top, I like Allen, especially when we're talking, 75 and above. I'm going with Allen at the top. How about you for the top guys?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Allen is as safe as it gets. The guy had probably the worst first half of his career fantasy-wise and then still finishes with almost 30 fantasy points. I like Cole Beasley stacked with them, man. I don't trust Sanders and I don't trust Diggs to hit their value, but Cole Beasley's cheap, gets the volume, and we just got noticed that Dawson Knox was ruled out Sunday, so I don't see anything changing there. I think Beasley's the kind of over-the-middle, chain-moving target there for Allen, so I'll probably have a lot of stacks with just Allen and Beasley and not try to double stack it with one of those other guys I can't trust.
Yep. All right. Then, mid-tier, let's go 6,200 up to Lamar Jackson at 7,300. And for me this week, Lamar Jackson 7,300 is probably gonna be my most played guy. I really like the matchup with Minnesota. I also like kind of the advantage. They're coming off their bye. They're coming off a big loss to Cincinnati. He didn't have a terrible game. He scored 23, pretty solid. But they're just people are kind of forgetting about Baltimore. I think this is a big bounce back game for him. I think he explodes here. I don't think he's super highly played. I really like Lamar Jackson here at 7,300. He's probably my favorite in this mid tier. Obviously, he is the most expensive, but I like him a lot in this position.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I do think Jackson's the best play in this range. He's just burned you a couple times. You had the blowout against the Chargers. They rushed for like 4 rushing touchdowns by their running backs.
Yeah.
And then you have that weird game with Cincinnati. But prior to that, the guy scored 45. So, in a good game with Indy. I don't think Minnesota stops anybody. We just saw what Cooper Rush was able to do against them in that primetime slate. Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson has a blow-up spot here. Obviously, there's like a risk when you have Baltimore that they could just run the ball the entire game. But, yeah, I do like Lamar Jackson here. Him and Allen will probably be my 2 highest played quarterbacks. So, I think a sneaky play in this range, though, is Dak Prescott. Dallas at home, it's just been unstoppable. And Denver seems to be quitting on the year. They traded away Von Miller. Seems like they're kind of cashing this one in. And if Dak is fully healthy, man, the guy's thrown for let's just 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He's just an absolute machine. When they're playing at home against a defense that's probably quitting here, not the best secondary, I think he'll go very under-owned. I think sneaky spot there with the Dak stack.
Yeah, I like that stack. I'm not playing so much of them, but I kind of feel similar about Herbert here. Herbert and just the Chargers offense in general has looked bad and not really found their way. I don't think Philly's D is good. I think you could have a shootout style game. I think he's going to be really underplayed. And almost deservedly so. he's coming off a 12-point performance and then a 15.8 performance, where it's definitely not making value for you, but a sneaky play. I'm not confident in that. I'm not going to play him a lot. We've seen his potential and his weapons, and I think he could be a sneaky play there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I also think like a stack with him, Eckler, and Keenan Allen or something like that is real enticing as well.
Yeah, then another guy, I do have one Joe Burrow stack, and this one's just kind of more, a little bit gut feeling on my part. I just think, really like the feel of Cincinnati. I really like how they've kind of completely transitioned from a run-first team to a pass-first team. Coming off a loss, a really kind of embarrassing loss, last week to the Jets. I think they try to make a statement here. It's a divisional game. Kind of like a Joe Burrow stack. I think he throws for 3 touchdowns here.
Yeah, I don't mind Burrow here. I think that's a tough game. We'll get into it. Receivers, though, I am on some of his receivers pretty heavy, though, so I do see the Joe Burrow stacks working out here. All right, moving in to the 5,000s here, and there's a couple value plays, man. It just kind of depends where you want to go. For me, it's going to be Tua at 5,800. They're at home against Houston. I see this injury popped up, but as long as he's healthy, Devontae Parker was ruled out. I think Tua with Waddle and Gesicki is just a strong spot here, man. I don't see Houston stopping anybody. And I also think with Tyrod Taylor coming back, that probably helps Tua out in the sense that, man, maybe this is a little more competitive. We play a little deeper into the fourth quarter. But it is just 2 bad teams, and they're going to throw the football. So I like Tua here at 5,800.
I'm with you. I do like Tua a lot. I think it's a great matchup. We've seen Tua does well in good matchups. He does bad in poor matchups. So I do like him at this position a lot. I think a sneaky one, I like Derek Carr against the Giants also at that price point. The guy's just had a sneaky, underrated season in general. He's been pretty safe, scoring 23, 24 fantasy points. I like the matchup here. I also think the Giants keep it relatively competitive. I think there's going to be some scoring in this game. So I think I do like Tua better with you, but I think Carr is going to be a sneaky, extremely underplayed person that I have confidence is going to get me over 20 points.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, my only concern with the Raiders would be just their mental state, and he just lost his number 1 weapon. But, yeah, I mean, the Giants aren't stopping anybody either. So, probably a good spot there for Carr.
All right. And then the last guy you mean to talk about, let's go down, unless you have anybody else. That's kind of my 5,000s. And then I'm going very cheap, and I'm taking some flyers here on Jordan Love at 4,400. He's not necessarily in a smash spot, not tough first game. But, it's just 4,400. You can do a lot with your lineup. If he can get you in that 15 to 20 range, you're golden, solid. And I think it's a possibility, especially maybe some garbage time here or maybe some turnovers, get him in a good position. Interesting play. I'll probably only play a couple there, but looks like Jordan Love's not an untalented person. I think there's going to be some road bumps, a wake-up call, some turnovers, but I could see him getting it together, throwing a few touchdowns also.
Yeah, I wish I had more faith in this guy, and I would just load this up at that price point. I mean, the lineups you could put together are crazy, but I don't love Jordan Love. I think the guy's a bum. I don't think he's an NFL talent, but you've got a game here where they're going to be down big. Maybe. I don't know. Kansas City's just also not been very good consistently now. So I can see a lot of throwing, but I could also see them just pounding the rock with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Not really getting love into bad spots. I think Kansas City's also, their defense is going to be underrated here. They just added Ingram to that linebacking core. I think they're trying to make some moves here. I'll put a Love stack together because I like the pieces you can get with it, but not super high on the guy just in general with his NFL career. So,
all right, let's move on to running backs here, and tough one here at running backs. I know you and me were talking about it. We're both going kind of, with the expensive guys this week because it's There's just slim pickings on the bottom, and even with the expensive guys, there's only a few guys we really like here. So let's start, at the very top. Let's go like 7,700 to 8,200. Dalvin Cook up to Alvin Kamara. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, of these guys, I'm going Eckler. I don't think Philly presents much of a challenge there. I think he's healthier this week than he was last week. He scored 25 last week. Outside of that Baltimore game, I mean, the guy has just been an absolute machine. 22, 32, 33, 25. A bad team. I think Chargers roll here. So, yeah, I'm going to load up on Eckler here up at the top.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Eckler the most at the top there. He's also just the safest. He's a guy that cannot get in the end zone, is just a PPR machine. He's got a lot of ways to score for you. So I like Eckler. And, the newfound kind of goal line touches for him have been great. He's a guy they trust to get in the end zone. So I'm with you out of the top there, Eckler. Dalvin Cook, as talented as he is, I don't like the matchup with Baltimore. I hate the matchup in general, actually. Kamara, it's just hard to trust with the new quarterback. And then McCaffrey, we're not even sure if he's going to play. So,
yeah, I think McCaffrey is going to play, but he said he's going to be on limited snaps, which really, I thought he would be a sneaky play if he was going to start and play full time there, but limited snaps, I don't trust the guy. And with Kamara, yeah, man, I don't know if I trust Trevor Siemian, but I mean, that guy's playing Atlanta. Might not be the worst place to go.
Yeah, it is a good matchup. Just at that price point with the question marks with QB, give me a little pause. And how much Taysom Hill are we going to see? There's just a little question marks for 8,200 there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's drop into the what do we got here? 7,200 to 6,700.
Yeah, the mid-tier guys, there's some talent here. This is kind of where we're living. There's some risk, but I really like Aaron Jones, 7,200. There is always a risk of them just not moving the ball. But we saw what they were able to do against Arizona when their pieces were gone and with a good game plan. I think they absolutely feed Jones here. I think he gets drop-off. So I like Jones at 7,200. You are carrying risk, but I am going to be playing a lot, and I see the positive outcome coming for Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I am on Jones. Right now I'm talking myself out of it. I mean, who do I see moving the ball better? New Orleans versus at home against Atlanta, or Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers at Kansas City? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I do think Jones gets force-fed the ball here. I think he's talented enough to make it happen, but I do have concerns about that Green Bay offense this week. I might try and just work in an Eckler Kamara lineup. I'm not sure.
All right, what else in this era? I'm kind of fading Joe Mixon. It doesn't mean I don't like Mixon. I just he was such a volume-based player, and just at this price point, I don't dislike him. I don't love him though. I know he had a really big game against the Jets, but that was just a high-scoring game in general. I don't know if he repeats that every week. I prefer kind of the Zeke play. I think Zeke's the safest there. And even Chubb, I think, is kind of a sneakier play than Mixon for me personally.
Yeah,
if he's with the bulk of the carries.
Yeah, I think Chubb's interesting, man. I mean, we just saw what the Jets did to the Cincinnati team. So with Michael Carter, I mean, Chubb is a beast, and that offensive line's legit. So Chubb, I think, is a sneaky play here. 6,700. I think he's got good value. I think Zeke's an okay play. I think he'll be better with Dak back, but I don't think he's a smash spot there against that Denver front. So for me in this range, probably leaning Chubb here at 6,700.
Yeah, I like Chubb and Jones. I think would be my two favorites in this range. All right, then we go a little kind of the next range down. We're going, 6,400 to maybe the high 5,000s, and it's a tough one, especially. They're not super cheap here, and you are still taking some risks. So right at the top, I want to start with Cordell Patterson. I think everybody on this, if you've been listening, knows my love for Patterson this year. Tough matchup against New Orleans. I don't hate his play. I see a path to high scoring, especially if they're down, having trouble moving the ball. I can see him getting a lot of catches. but some of his value has been that he's been a productive runner in addition to a receiver. So I don't see him being a productive runner here, which makes me just think his upside's a little limited. Don't hate him at 6,300, but I don't think I can play him like I normally do. This range for me, I think, and Corey, you can agree, a couple names. I'm looking at Booker, Elijah Mitchell, and maybe Damian Harris, but the rest are kind of fades for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's pretty. I don't mind taking a shot on a couple of those guys, but I don't trust any of them. I mean, Booker's completely dependent on the Saquon news. If Saquon's ruled out, I think Booker's probably the best of the bunch down there. Mm-hmm. With Patterson, I want to like this guy, but with no Ridley, I think he should see more targets. But I got a hard time playing Patterson. Elijah Mitchell banged up against Arizona, who's good. You know what I mean? I don't love it. Yeah, I think for me, I think Harris is a sneaky play. He looked good running last week. Didn't quite cash out for everybody, but I thought he looked good past the eye test. If I come down here, though, I think it's going to be Booker. But you're not getting that much savings off of – I'm getting $800 off of Nick Chubb. I'd probably just spend up and take Chubb there of the two.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next tier down. Not a whole lot standing out to me. The guy that does stand out to me, that stands out to me every freaking week, is Chase Edmonds, man. 5,300. Again, still has massive upside. He finally got in the end zone last week, scored 15.9. But I just think the guy still has potential. If he's still using the passing game. Not saying he's a must play, but in this range, he's probably my favorite running back in this range.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd probably take the shot on Boston Scott, I guess, if I'm down there. But I'm going to really just try to avoid being down there with running backs. Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I mean, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams is a 50-50, so I don't like that. Zach Moss doesn't get the ball. Yeah, I mean, for me, it'd probably be Boston Scott down here, but no confidence, and I'm going to try to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, like we said, it's definitely a middle-tier, top-heavy type of week for running back. If you're going to have to save money, I think you're going to have to look for a wide receiver to do so.
Yeah, and I think there is some over here. So we'll get into wide receivers now, and there is some value here, I think, this week.
All right. What do you like? What do you like at the top? Maybe, and I know that both of us probably aren't playing too much at the top out of necessity, but if you were, where are you at here? Let's go. Maybe cut off at Jamar Chase, so 76 up to 8,200.
Yeah, I mean, probably Tyreek Hill, man. I think Kansas City could score. I think there's something wrong with Kelsey, man. I don't know if it's an injury or they're just having issues, but like him and Mahomes just seemed out of sync last game. He's dropping balls. There's miscommunication between the two of them. I don't know. Personally, it looked like there was something wrong, and Mahomes decided that I'm just going to force feed Tyreek Hill. He had 18 targets, 12 catches, 94 yards and a touchdown against this Green Bay team, which I thought was going to be a massive shootout. I was all over Tyreek Hill, but now, I mean, I'd probably stick with Hill. I think Debo's in a good spot here. I loved Adams, but not with Love. And I got no desire to play Diggs here. Chase, I think, is a sneaky play, though, for like a Burrow stack or something like that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I put in Chase with my Burrow stack. I also just, he is expensive, but I think he is sneaky because he's probably the kind of least known name out of those guys, or not the biggest name there, and he's expensive. So sneaky play, but he's not my must play. From a safety standpoint, I'm with you. I think Tyreek Hill is the safest up top. I don't know if I'm willing to pay $7,900 compared to some of these middle tier guys, but you're right. At the top, he's probably the safest and has the most upside. Deebo Samuel's very sneaky. I think that's very much depending. I don't know if they've made a final decision on Kittle yet or not. I I know he was due to possibly come back. If Kittle's out, Tebow's been an absolute, killer at that price range with those targets, and he's been super consistent. So I would need to wait on that news to make a decision there. But yeah, Tebow's sneaky at the top.
Yeah, he's just getting a massive target share. It's been insane. So, all right, into this next grouping, we've got Justin Jefferson. I don't know, down to like Keenan Allen. Who are you liking in here?
So I'm on Keenan Allen again this week, big time. I'm not, trying to diss Mike Williams. I got Mike Williams on a lot of my fantasy teams season long, but I think everybody overreacted a little bit to the number one dog in the Chargers offense. It still seems to be Keenan Allen. And like I was mentioning earlier with Herbert, I mean, Chargers offense has looked really bad the last few weeks, and Allen still Mr. Consistent here. So if we have one of those offensive explosions, Keenan's still got the really serious potential, and I really like the matchup anyways. I think he does very similar to what he does last week, where he's going to catch 6 to 8 balls. He's going to get 70 to 100 yards, and hopefully gets a touchdown. And I think he's very safe to do that. So probably like Keenan Allen the best in this range from a safety standpoint. Obviously, you got Mike Williams with the kind of boom potential. You got Hopkins, who's very banged up, but very cheap for Hopkins. But he is banged up, so I probably am passing at this point. That's probably my favorite in this range. I don't hate Justin Jefferson coming off that kind of crappy performance. I think he's going to be very underplayed. I think he's sneaky. I still think the guy can get a lot of volume. But I think in this range, I'm going Keenan Allen as my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Thielen Jefferson, you got to kind of pick which way you think that's going, but either way might be a good spot. A healthy CeeDee Lamb I like here though if he's good to go. I know Cooper took all the hype away last week, but the guy had 6 catches for 112 yards with a backup quarterback. If this ankle sprain isn't anything serious, against a Denver team, which I think Dallas should just take care of there at home. So I do like Lamb. But I'm with you. I think Keenan Allen has that safety, net. The guy's got a great floor. And against a Philly team, they should dominate. I mean, I could definitely see that guy getting in the end zone this week.
Yep.
All right, let's go DJ Moore down to Amari Cooper.
All right, yeah, I'm going to start with the last name you said. I mean, I think Amari Cooper is just way too cheap at $5,700. I do think you need to really monitor the guy's injury. It's that nagging hamstring, serious injury, and that's one of those you run wrong, you're right back on the sidelines immediately. So there is risk involved. It's funny that the guy looked better with the backup quarterback. He was just force-fed a lot of targets there. 13 targets, didn't spread it around. But I do think even some of those smaller games, I think he was just banged up. If he's getting back to form, he's always a huge boom potential. I do think he still has a safe floor at 5,700. So I like Amari Cooper a lot there, but monitor that injury. And then another guy I know that you and me both like, I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but I know he did come off that big game, is Brandon Cooks. He had the big game last week, which was completely in garbage time. Really was. He was having a rough game. And then he was coming off a couple rough games. The Indy game, same thing. Had a lot of those catches in garbage time, but he had a 7, a 5, and 9. The big news is he's getting Tyrod Taylor back, and Tyrod's able to move the ball a little bit better. He was absolutely force-feeding Cooks the ball as well. And I like Cooks in this position, even though I do wish he was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I like Cooks. I don't think Miami is very good defensively. But I really want to know where they're at, though, with this guy, because I thought they had agreed to trade him. They don't trade him. Yeah, I do like Cooks, though. I think that's a good matchup for him. I also just want to point out that Michael Thomas is a fucking bum. The guy's out for the year now. So if you took a shot drafting that guy, it sucks for you, which is also me. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm on Cooper big time here. If that guy's healthy, which, I mean, it does scare me that he's, standing there with, a Theragun on the sidelines. in between plays and stuff, trying to get that hamstring loose. But if he's healthy, just like I like CeeDee Lamb here, I do like Cooper in this spot here against Denver's D. But this next grouping here, I think there's just so much value. And this is where you're really going to be able to go up and get those running backs. So we'll go Emmanuel Sanders down to, let's go all the way down to Tony for the Giants. Just kind of group them in there. How you feeling?
There's a lot of gems here. Up at the top of this kind of tier, probably my favorite is going to be Waddle. I really like the matchup. He's very similar to Tua, where he struggles a little bit in the really tough matchups. He does really well in the good matchups. This is a good matchup with Houston. Devontae Parker just re-injured himself, so it makes the receiving core back to Waddle and Gesicki, who they're going to pound the ball to and get all the targets. So really, really like Waddle in this position at 5,600. Another guy that I think has big boom potential, very safe floor in PPRs. You can catch so many balls here. So Waddle is probably my favorite in this tier, other than maybe the Cole Beasley that we talked about earlier with the stack with Allen. I think he's still in a great spot here. I will be playing a lot of both those guys right here. How about you? I know you're on those two guys as well, but what else do you see in this tier?
Yeah, I mean, outside of those two, I think it's T. Higgins for me. I know every week I say this, so sooner or later I got to be right, I think. The guy looks good. He gets targets. He only had 4 catches on 6 targets last week for 97 yards, but I want to point out, this guy was tackled at the 1-yard line and the 4-yard line, 2 separate plays, or you're looking at a monster week again. But even in these weeks where he's not getting it done, this guy scored 13. He's consistent. And I think just sooner or later, if you're playing the numbers, the guy has an insane target share, has an insane red zone target share. I'm probably going to go Higgins down here, but I am very high on Beasley and Waddle in that grouping as well.
All right, I think we can just kind of go down now. Let's give me some of your sleepers under the basically 5,000 mark.
Yeah, I've only got 2 really that I'm going to. I like Hunter Renfrow at 4,800. I think with Henry Ruggs being gone now, the guy was already a PPR machine. Just kind of lacked some upside, but the guy scores 12 when he doesn't score a touchdown, 18 when he scores a touchdown. And at 4,800 against this Giants team, I love Hunter Renfrow here. And then the other guy is going to be at $4,000 is Rashad Bateman, who this one's completely dependent on Sammy Watkins. If Watkins plays, I probably don't like Bateman as much. But, if Watkins is out, I think Bateman's a sneaky play there at 4,000. I like Lamar Jackson. I'll probably put him on my stacks. So those are the 2 guys for me down there. What about you?
Yeah, I like both those guys. I especially like Renfrow. The other guy that I'm looking at 3,900 is going to be McCole Hardman. His floor, he's always been a boom or bust type of a character. His floor is slowly growing higher every week. He is getting more involved in the offense in general. Last week he got 7 targets, 5 catches for 63. Not a bad, type of floor that we're getting. The guy is still going to catch a deep touchdown this week. If he can get me the 5 catches for 50 on a normal week, and I'm going to play him the week that he gets the deep ball also, you could look at a 20-point, 25-point guy at 3,900. So a little bit more of a flyer here. I'm not recommending you play this guy in every lineup. I really like him for his potential at 3,900.
Yeah, I like that. And I think one more little honorable mention. I'll throw Quez Watkins in here now that Rager's out. Sneaky play. I don't think it'd be highly owned at 3,800. Against the Chargers, should be a shootout. So that's about it, though, there for receivers. All right. Let's move into tight ends now. And I feel like every week, man, we've got like 3 or 4 guys, and that's about it for this position. So,
yeah, let's start off. I'll go with my first guy. Is just gonna be my favorite guy. Then I'll go price. But I think my number 1 played guy is just gonna be Gesicki, man. I got Gesicki a lot of my season-long fantasies, and I'm pumped that I got him. He's just been Mr. Consistent for me. I was a little worried with Devontae Parker coming back. And now, granted, it was a very tough matchup either way against Buffalo. But even with that, the guy got 3 for 48. I think he got a 2-point conversion, ended up getting 9.8 for me. And that was with Parker getting a lot of looks and a really tough matchup. Before that, 21.5, 22.5. He had an 8.3 and then another 16.7. The guy's been really good, and I love his targets. I love his floor. I think it's a great matchup. I think it's a great matchup with Parker being out as well. He's probably going to be my number one played guy, Gesicki, at 4,900.
Yeah, I like Gasecki a lot. I think, you know, I don't know, man. I think Gasecki is the best play at the price on this slate.
Yeah.
I will say Mark Andrews has some serious upside here at 5,500.
Yeah.
So with Lamar Jackson, I'll probably stack Andrews. And outside of that, it's probably Dallas Goedert at 4,500. But those are the three guys for me that are getting any kind of ownership.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think for me, I think Gesicki's the kind of most consistent play. I think Andrews has the most upside with still a safe floor. So it's a great stacking piece. Goddard's really coming into his own. Also a very safe guy, especially if you just need to save a few $100. I feel very comfortable at 45. The last guy, it's at least interesting if you really need to save money. You just kind of put yourself in the hole. I don't hate Dan Arnold down at 3,400. So obviously a very hard matchup. They're going to be down. Got a lot of targets. Got 10 targets last week, 14.8. So not a horrible play. And then the very high risk honorable mention here is if Kittle plays, 5,200 for a guy with that skill set, possibly worth a flyer there. I'm not saying I recommend it with the injury, and he wasn't having an amazing season before that. But the guy's just, from a ceiling standpoint, the guy is a pretty amazing talent to be priced at 5,200. I'm probably going to have to sit there, wait, see how he plays, even if he does play. Might be sneak into one lineup, though.
Yeah, I can see him going off there. I do like the Dan Arnold spot. I think they're going to be down against Buffalo, and they're just going to kind of have to throw the ball, and I think he's one of the top targets there now in Jacksonville. So I do like Dan Arnold if you want to save some money at 3,400. Moving over to defenses, though, pretty tough week, man. For me at the top, man, it's going to be the Bills. But I can't afford them in too many lineups, so it's probably 50-50. I'll play the Bills on most of them. And then otherwise I'm dropping all the way down to the Chiefs at 2,300 against the backup quarterback. I just think there's an opportunity there for a turnover or something. Not that this Chiefs defense has looked very good, but those are the two that I'm playing, Bills and Chiefs. What about you?
Yeah, my number one defense is going to be the Bills. I think they're in an absolute smash spot with Jacksonville. Not only are they going to keep them low scoring, I think Lawrence is going to try to force a lot here and get a lot of turnovers. So when I can afford them, I am playing a lot of the Bills, and I'm making some sacrifices in my lineup to get the Bills on my lineups here. So they're going to be my number one by a lot. I do like the Chiefs play at 2,300. Even if they don't crush it, and even if, like, let's say even a scenario where the Packers win, very similar to how the Packers beat Cardinals, and it's a run-heavy scheme. It's just like time's going to go fast. I still see it could be a low-scoring game with a lot of time of possession. So it's like I don't hate them to make value at their price point. I agree with you. It's a sneaky good play. So I have been there. The only other one I think I've played a little bit of, this is more of a shot coming off a bye week, but it was the Ravens against Minnesota at 3,000. I know the Ravens looked terrible against Cincy, but they looked amazing against the Chargers the week before, coming off a bye week, and the Vikings didn't really look great against Dallas's D. So I'm taking a couple flyers on that one as well, but that's about it. Those three, with Buffalo being by far my highest played defense.
Yeah, I'll throw one more, and I think the Dallas D is not a terrible play here at 3,300. They did score great against Minnesota, but it was a very slow-paced game. Cowboys were trying to limit the possessions, and they only gave up 16 points at Minnesota.
Yep.
Coming back against a Denver team, which I really do think they've just kind of thrown in the towel for the year. So I could see them teeing off back there. So Dallas at 3,300 might get a couple plays for me.
Right.
All right, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's win some money this weekend.